Hi everyone, this is Jana here for the Noble Sage Art Gallery. Hope you're all doing well at home. As you can see, I'm hands-free because I bought a tripod, and I was talking to my brothers because I liked doing it on my hand, but apparently it's very shaky and you guys will be able to see the work better and concentrate better if I use a tripod. So I bought a tripod, and it's nice and still, which is better for you to view. I am being surrounded by the work behind me. It looks like an aura, which I'm going to be talking to you very soon. And this is a work by Prafulla Mohanti, who is from Orissa in India, but lives in London. I'm going to be talking to you about that very soon. I first wanted to say thank you to you all who have been dropping me emails and dropping me messages to say that you're enjoying the videos and to keep doing them, which is good. And I'm really glad to see that people are enjoying them and tuning in every weekday at 3 o'clock to hear about a work of art from the collection. I'm enjoying doing them, actually. It's really fun. Please let me know what you think and what you would like me to look at. I'm happy to take requests. I'm like a DJ in a wedding, so please do give me those requests and I'll be happy to talk about your favourite work in the collection in the Noble Sage. So, what was the other thing I was saying? Oh yeah, some of you have been getting in touch to ask about catalogues. So I've got a stack of extra catalogues. They're just sitting here and I'm happy to send them out to you guys. If you would like one in the post or like a set in the post, drop me a line with your postal address and I will email it to you in the post, so you can enjoy that at home and have a read. RB, thanks for joining me straight after my brother's poetry workshop. That's really good going. I'm impressed. So we are going to be looking at this work behind me called Shiva. Oh, how do we get? Can we get that smaller? No, we can't. Okay, it's called Shiva and it is by Prafulla Mohanti, and it is. Let me just turn it slightly so you can see a bit more. So this is a gorgeous work, of course, and this was in my show called The Spiritual, and it's a stunning work, actually, one of my favourites in the gallery, on consignment from my artist Prafulla Mohanti, who, as I said, is from Orissa in South India. Orissa is a place very close to my heart because my grandfather originates from there, and I actually went there to kind of mark that heritage, and I travelled around there and I had some amazing experiences seeing the temple in Bhubaneswar and Puri, which were totally remarkable temples, and you must go and see them. Understandably, having seen that, I wasn't surprised when Prafulla's work was deeply spiritual and deeply kind of linked to divinity and to Hindu divinity. This piece is no exception, but to talk about it, I have to go back to the beginning. And when I say back to the beginning, I mean back to the beginning of Prafulla's life. So Prafulla was in a small village in a place called I think it's called Nagpur, I think, if I remember right, in Orissa, and he was a little child there, and one of the first things that he remembers was learning to draw 3 circles on the ground in the sand, 3 identical circles, and that was relating to the Trimurti. The Trimurti is the 3 kind of divine powers that create the universe. So that's Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Brahma, the creator; Vishnu, the preserver; and Shiva, the destroyer. If you tuned into my Dancing Shiva piece on Jagat Veerasinga, you will see Dancing Shiva, which is a creation and destruction in complete perpetual continuity. So here he was drawing as a child 3 circles in the sand, one after the other. As he would draw them, they were teaching him as a child to chant those names: Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, which was a kind of proclamation of for all creation and all divinity and the connectedness of all our lives and all of us. So that's what he did as a child. Now, when he arrived in London in the 60s, if I remember right, it was dreary, as you'd imagine. When he arrived in England, sorry, it was dreary. He was doing a job that he hated, and it was grey outside, as we all know in London generally. And he started drawing lotus flowers and different simple shapes and pasting them in bright colour on the wall of his flat, to give him hope, to give him salvation, to give him peace, to remind him of his village, his beloved village in India. And the one that became the occurring motif or shape was the circle. He kept drawing this circle, and the circle was taking on larger and wider meanings for him. Not only was it transporting him back to his childhood and to this evocation of the Trimurti, the three divinities that are kind of divine Hindu divinities that structure the world, but it also reminded him of the bindi, the kind of eternal nature of the bindi that his mother would wear on her forehead. It reminded him of the garlanding of statues or of deities, or even nature at certain times of the year, which also related to seasons and the coming of spring and so on. It reminded him of the way that the rising tide or rising water levels that would engulf his village during the monsoon season, that same circle. It reminded him of how in temples they would go round 3 times round a deity's kind of temple structure. It would go 3 times around. It reminded him of all those things, as well as kind of the cyclical nature of life, and the and as well as the nostalgic element of looking back to where he came from, this place, this village in this country, far, far away from where he was in England. And so he started drawing these circles repetitively over and over again until they became something more, much more than the simple circle that it is. In fact, how he came to use the circle was a way of meditating and a way of being in, composing himself, meditating and being in a state of almost mantra-like repetition, creating these circles. He talks about it as the way that one structures the universe. Drawing this circle on this page was a way of structuring the universe, making him feel connected, making him feel closer to nature and to where he came from in India, to Orissa, and making him feel closer to his village. They became portals, as well as force fields, as well as a kind of way of connecting with everything around him, in a place where, you know, in England when he arrived, 60s, 70s, he felt very detached. He was the subject of a lot of racism. He you know, so he felt very detached and on his own. So circles became a way of finding something that would greater him and kind of elevate him from his surroundings and a way of worship as well. So, having told you about his work in simple terms, we can now look at this watercolour, which is a circle, as you can imagine, linking up to what we were talking about. Let's take this a little bit further back. So it's a circle, as you can see, and the circle is in one sense quite vulva-like, quite vaginal, an orifice. It's also an egg, so it has that natural sense of beginnings, of new starts, of things opening. Some people have looked at the way the watercolour, this is a painting in watercolour, the way the watercolour has bled into, the two colours have bled into each other, and that has created an effect where these almost look like trees. And that's quite remarkable when you get up close. I'm going to be taking the camera in closer soon so you can see what I mean. Also, some people have looked at this and talked about how it looks like images of the universe, of the cosmos, space imagery, the way that this white, stark white, and the blending here also reminds people of that. So the work has this it reminds me of Achuthan Kudulu, who I looked at a previous day, who, he does deconstructions of colours to show the kind of infinite nature of colour. Here, Prafulla is showing the infinite nature of the circle, the divine purity of that simple shape. Remember, the circle, the O, is also the first sound in Hinduism that created the world. Om, Om. It's also a sound of peace. It's a sound that's used in mantras and in meditation. It's the first letter, if I remember right, it's the first letter of the alphabet. It literally begins things. So not the South Asian alphabet, not our own, obviously. So there's a kind of a spiritual quality to this O, to this circle, and it's not even a circle. It's elliptical in this case. In other ones, they can be more circular. It's all done by freehand, and this is watercolour on paper. I'm now going to take you off the tripod so you can get close and just get a sense of the watercolour effect he uses. It's quite exquisite. Okay, let's turn this around. Okay, so let's just get close. Sorry about the reflection, but let's just get close. Can you see the trees, hopefully, the way these look like trees? Oh, look at the reflection. That's not great. Come around this way. Yeah. So it's a stunning work. He's an artist that I hope, he's very elderly now. I think he's 86. So, I really hope that I'm going to be able to develop a show with him, a solo show. Hopefully now you can see what I mean about this kind of the cosmos, these images of the cosmos and the universe. Yeah, just give you a sense of the scale. So yeah, this is Prafulla Mohanti. It's the only watercolor on paper work that I have, but I'm a huge fan of his, and if I can prize a few more from him, I would be happy to. He now lives in England, so it's relatively easy to see him, but he travels to Orissa for 6 months a year, to just be in his village. He runs a charity there as well for women painting, and yeah, he's a fantastic artist. I mean, by all accounts. I'm actually going to talk a bit more about him and let you have a look at it a bit longer. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you like it, Marie. Yeah, it's a gorgeous piece. I wish you could see the blue here. I mean, you can see it a little bit on the screen, but the blue is really deep. The paper has really absorbed that colour. It really breathes, this colour. It really breathes. Well, I would like to thank you all for coming at 3 o'clock as usual. I can see there's a lot of returning viewers coming back, which is great. Please do join me 3 o'clock every weekday. We will be looking at a different work of art from the collection. This is our first piece from Orissa in South India. Tomorrow I'm going to see if I can look at something from Sri Lanka, give you something a bit different. Thank you again for watching. Do let me know what you think of this. Please share it amongst your friends so that other people can join us and we can get a dialogue going around the work. And let me know what you think of it. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. Bye-bye.